University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is the Miller's Edge.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. Hope everybody is doing well today. Got some stuff we're going to dive into because it is a Talking Tuesday, but you guys know what that means. It means you guys are the co-hosts. So we're going to be going to you guys, majority of the show, 205-342-9904. Anything that comes to mind, we're going to talk about it, but we definitely are going to start things off a bit of a football topic, football conversation. Got something that has come up. Plus, I'm expecting to hear from Ricky. He dropped this his top 15 yesterday, and I think he's going to call in to clarify that. But like I said, I want to start with the football conversation, most notably the quarterbacks. I know we always talk about the quarterbacks, and normally we get tired of it, but it's kind of popped back up. I saw something circulating that kind of made me circle back to it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks today, but again, it is a Talking Tuesday. So you guys are in that co-host chair. 205-342-9904 is the number. Looking forward to hearing from you. Plus, you guys can always download that Tide 100.9 app if you don't have it already, where you can leave your app messages. You drop those down in there. Chase will be glad to read those live on air to discuss any type of question, comment, or concern that you might have. Plus, as you guys are probably aware of now, we are back streaming live on YouTube. So that means we've got our YouTube audience as well. So you guys also know the drill. You're more than welcome to leave your comments, questions, response, all that stuff in the chat, and we can discuss it, talk about it here live on air. Per usual, I got to remind you guys about our friends over at the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Again, if you're in any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, the Good Feet Store will take care of it. Matter of fact, they I think I told you guys this, but they had emailed me and told me that they're sending out those mailers, man, down to South Alabama, because they do have that new location down there. So we have a bunch of our listeners down in South Alabama that are dealing with some pain. You got to go check out the Good Feet Store and that new store that they've opened up. It looks extremely nice. But again, these are premium arch supports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, clinically proven to do so in just 4 weeks. You can see over on the YouTube stream right now, I'm on their website, but it's a personalized system, a 3-step system. There's different tiers, and you just pop them in your shoes, boots, whatever it is, you name it. They go right in there, and I'm telling you, man, it's as simple as that. They go right to work and clinically proven to take care of that pain in just 4 short weeks. So you can't beat it. If you're like me, you've been dealing with a lot of pain, you're on your feet all the time, looking to live a more balanced life, a healthier life, just feel better overall, you got to check out the Good Feet Store again. They are going to take great care of you, just like they take great care of me and all the other thousands and thousands of people, if not millions of people, that have been benefiting from these things. Tuscaloosa's location is right there in Midtown Village off of McFarland. You can't miss it. Walk on in there. Walk-ins are welcome. Or you can always go to the website right here, goodfeet.com, where you can schedule an appointment and find the nearest location to you, because they are nationwide. Again, nice new store down in South Alabama, but Birmingham's got a location clearly here in Tuscaloosa, like I just mentioned, and all across the country. So you got to check out the Good Feet Store again. That is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Chase Southern is in here. She says, Roll Tide, Christian, Roll Tide, Chase. So the folks over on the YouTube channel are already locked and loaded and ready to go. Chase, I'll be honest, man. We always say, like, the quarterback conversation gets old, but I feel like we hadn't really talked about it in quite some time. So I think it's okay if we revisit it. I mean, it's that time of year where things are a little bit slower. So there's going to be some conversations that are a little bit more frequent. But that being said, I mean, we can always dive into some basketball. Chase, I don't know if you've been keeping up much with the NBA playoffs. I'll say this. I've always been a LeBron fan, but I love watching Anthony Edwards, man. He's a dog, and they just went up 3-1 on Golden State. So I don't know. We'll see if he can get himself a championship ring. But are you familiar with Anthony Edwards' game, Chase? Are you a big fan of his or no?
I am. I've been watching him since he was at Georgia.
Really?
It's crazy how athletic he is, Christian.
Dude, a lot of people say they see Michael Jordan in him, man. Look, I'm not going to, and let me just preface by saying this. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm one of those people because there's a lot of people that are around my age. So I'm 28, I'll be 29 next month. There's a lot of people my age. So I was born in 96. Let me stop before I get done. I'm giving too much information. I'm just kidding. But a lot of people that are my age, literally born late 90s like that, are like these big Jordan fans. And I'll be honest with you, man. Like, yes, if you go back and watch his highlights, but we were way too young to really be like big Jordan fans. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know everything about MJ, but obviously I've seen all the tape and all the highlights and all that stuff. And I will say, I mean, I do see facets of Anthony Edwards' game that obviously kind of resemble somewhat of that. But I think what I just love about Anthony Edwards, man, the athleticism. I mean, the dude can jump out the roof. I love his mentality. You talk about a dude that's a dog that just doesn't care. I mean, you're talking about a guy that literally was with Obama not long ago, man, and literally like told Obama straight to his face, like, I don't like that. Like, you better ask about me. Like, craziest thing. And LeBron just signed off on it, man. But he's a dog. I love watching him. But if he ends up getting himself a championship ring, Chase, I don't know if they're gonna be able, I mean, you can't tell him anything already. I mean, he's unapologetically himself, but that's gonna be funny just seeing him at a championship parade. I know I'm jumping the gun, but that's been interesting to see him in his progression. But I say all that to say we can always talk a little bit of basketball here and there. Plus, again, baseball, softball, they're hosting here in Tuscaloosa, so maybe we'll discuss a little bit of that. But you guys know we love talking football, and there's always going to be topics to talk about football, which again leads me to what I want to start with. But we're happy to go wherever you guys want to go with y'all's conversations, topics, all that good stuff. But before we hit this break, I'll just tell you what it is that I've got planned. So I stumbled across the videos, none other than JD. We listen to a lot of On3 around here. We break videos down, stuff like that. But JD was talking about the keys for Alabama football this season. And in doing so, in giving those keys, he kind of had some interesting comments regarding, last season. And I think I even saw Ricky make a comment about it, which is funny enough. So we're going to listen to that when we come back, and we're going to break it down. I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. He obviously seems like he's got some optimism for Alabama, but it was his comments about last season that I need to give some pushback on. So we're going to break that down when we come back. But first, we got to take a time out again. It is a Talking Tuesday. We're looking forward to talking with all you guys. 205-342-9904 is the number. I need my callers stepping up. You guys are the co-hosts. We need those app messages rolling in, and we need those YouTube chat messages rolling in as well. On this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Marty Lyons. When I come to Taco Casa, I always order the 2 and 2. 2 Sanchos, 2 enchiladas.
And I'm Wilkin Forby. And when I come to Taco Casa, I always order the Fantastic Four. 4 Sanchos, 4 enchiladas, 4 tacos, and 4 burritos.
Taco Casa is always made with the finest ingredients and made fresh when you order. So whatever the size of your appetite,
there's always something delicious waiting for you here at Taco Casa.
Taco Casa,
What's
under
up,
the
Southern?
biggest
What's up,
cactus
Justin?
in town.
Fabrice, as a rideshare driver, I love.
How's everybody? Appreciate you guys joining, hopping on with us. If you guys haven't already, you guys know the drill. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't. Share the video too. Share the stream. Matter of fact, let me do that. Let me do that myself. Yakenji's here. What's up, Yakenji? Appreciate you guys stopping by. Let's see. If you guys aren't familiar, so Tuesdays we call Talking Tuesdays. That means we're literally talking about everything and anything. So if you guys got anything that you guys want to cover, questions, whatever it might be, make sure you guys drop them. That's how we like to do. We open up the phone lines, app messages, all that stuff, and we're just talking about everything and anything. So that's what we got today. We're going to start with we're going to hear a video from J.D. Pickell again, but this time he's talking about if Alabama's going to make it to the playoffs, what needs to happen. But I think it was his comments about last season that kind of caught some people off guard a little bit. So we'll break that down here in a second. Let me first share this video. Let's see. Oh, yeah. See, I knew Ricky wanted to talk about it. Don't worry, Ricky. I got you. We're about to go to it right now. Oh, you're already on the phone lines. All right, cool. All right, bet. What we'll do is, Ricky, or I'm at like you're in the chat. Or maybe Chase can hear me. He could tell him. We're going to listen to it first, Ricky. Then we'll go to you. That way everybody has an idea of what we're about to talk about. So I knew you wanted. When I saw that tweet, I was like, wait, I think this is what he's talking about. I'm like, dang, we didn't even
Human led.
ROI
upset.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. And then we might segue into some of that quarterback talk a little bit. We hadn't talked about the quarterbacks in a while. We'll start there and see where the wind blows us. All right, here we go.
Is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well, staying dry. A little bit rainy today. Looks like it's going to be rainy all week. So heads up. I'm not James Spann, but I can just tell you that's what my weather app said. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right into things, Chase. I see we already got Ricky lined up. I already know what he wants to talk about. So we're going to actually go ahead and set the table for him. So again, JD Piquel, who we listen to a lot here. We listen to a lot of On Three, break things down. Always nice to do some reactions here on the show. But he had made a video a few days ago, and it was talking about what will determine Alabama's college football playoff destiny. And I was listening to it, and he obviously had some interesting comments about last season that caught the attention of a lot of people. So without further ado, Chase, let's go ahead and hear what JD had to say regarding Alabama football's playoff destiny, as well as what went wrong last season.
Got another take here from y'all talking about Alabama and where they are in our top 25.
Hey, JD Piquel. This is Casey from Madison, Alabama. And I'm looking at these spring ratings, and I am not a happy camper. JD, I'm really upset because I'm looking at all these teams that are put in front of the Crimson Tide, and I'm just unhappy. Kalen DeBoer, the guy that coached for the national championship 2 years ago, the guy that came in for the GOAT, and actually, while people think he was a down year, managed to have a 9-win season, beating the eventual SEC champions. I have faith that guy is better than he's definitely better than the A&M coach and the South Carolina coach. I have faith in Alabama. I think that Ty Simpson's going to ball. I think Ryan Williams and Jeremy Renard are going to go crazy this year. I think that the addition of Isaiah Horton is going to be splendid. I really it's this Florida and Auburn thing. I just walk me through it because I feel like this is almost lose your credential worthy. Mr. JD, help me out here.
All right, well, we'll address the Florida-Auburn part of this a little bit later, but let's start with the major gripe. Alabama at number 11. It feels weird seeing that script day outside the top 10. But you look at this top 10, y'all, I feel good about every single team ahead of them at quarterback or they made the college football playoff. Like A&M, I like Marcel Reed. At least I know who he is. Same deal at number 9 and number 8. Sellers and Nussmeier, yeah, I'll take that to the bank. Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Clemson, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, all college football playoff teams. Something that Alabama was not a season ago. Now you sit here and say, well, JD, what was the problem in Alabama last year? Why didn't they make the college football playoff? Glad you asked. They didn't have a quarterback. Had Jalen Milroe. He wasn't good enough last year to run the system. I've said so many times, no offense to Jalen Milroe. No, actually, offense to Jalen Milroe. They were not good enough last year at quarterback. Period. Mic drop, the end. Alabama fans know that. And it wasn't like I wasn't high on the guy going into the year. I thought it'd be awesome. It wasn't the way that it worked out. And so if that was the problem last year, and you're entering into a new year with a question mark at quarterback, can you guarantee me that's fixed? I think that Ty Simpson's going to be good. I think that if it's not him, Keelan Russell could be good or Austin Mack could be good. But that's the point, right? We don't know just yet. And so this is not a prediction. This is where we are in spring. And as of right now, there is no assurances. There is no guarantees that problem is fixed. There's none. I feel, again, going back to that top 25, I feel better about all the teams in front of them at quarterback, or I feel better about their roster in relation to them being a college football playoff team. So I will say this, Alabama in 2025, they will be quarterback driven. If you needed more proof of that, go back and watch the 2024 season. Go back and watch what Washington was with Ryan Grubb as the OC there with Kalen DeBoer. They reunited, and it feels so good. If I see Ty Simpson slinging it in September, he walks out there against Florida State, first drive, and he's just out there playing darts, give me a Hayes Fawcett graphic. I'm committing to Alabama. I'll be all in on the Tide. That'll be all I need to see. But if that is the major hinge point, that's the major variable, I don't know that we have the Mentos to the Coke just yet. I think you could. But if you're asking me to project in the future, okay, we'll talk about that. But a current standing in spring, I don't see it. I don't see it just yet. And that's not anybody's fault. We can get spring game broadcast, did our best to keep our ear to the ground on the intel. Alabama hasn't even a quarterback yet. I think it's going to be Ty Simpson at this point. There's no guarantees that's the case either. So to speak to Florida and Auburn, Florida, I know who their quarterback is. I know he's really good. Top 20 in returning production, a team that finished the year with 2 top 25 wins. I like the trajectory. Right now, I feel like I know more about Florida at the most important position with the way they finished last year, okay? There were times last year for Alabama where the way they finished was, abysmal. Losses to Oklahoma, losses to Michigan. I think Alabama is going to be good, but I don't have them higher because of just what I said, the question marks around them. Auburn, same deal. They're a little bit more tricky to get a pulse for because you have a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold. Now, let's make sure this is clear. Alabama is still ahead of Florida, is still ahead of Auburn. I've been pretty vocal the entire time. I'm not out on Alabama. I'm just not into the point where I know they're going to be a top 10 team. So if we hear good things about Ty Simpson, we see good things about Ty Simpson early on, I think they're going to have a chance to be awesome. I've said many a time, Kalen DeBoer, he knows quarterbacks. The fact that none of these individuals have transferred out tells me, 1, it's still a battle, and 2, he feels good about all those guys in that room. I mean, Keelan Russell's the future, but Austin Mack, he's still there. Ty Simpson, he's still there. And I think the fact that they're there is in some way, shape, or form a bit of a peek into the room that Kalen DeBoer must have communicated something to, hey, keep going. We're going to see how this thing goes in the fall. Keep battling. Is some of that he's trying to keep his roster intact? I'm sure it's part of it. I don't think that's inappropriate to assume that he wants to keep as few of those quarterbacks in the transfer portal as possible. But I also think the fact that he recruited Austin Mack twice, both to Washington and to Alabama, I don't think that's nothing. Ty Simpson, the fact that he's still there after not being the guy multiple times under Nick Saban, I think that says something about how good Kalen DeBoer feels about him. Keelan Russell, what he was as a prospect speaks for itself. If Alabama has a dude at quarterback, they're a national title competitor. Again, we have a blank here. We just don't have any way of filling in. So for me right now, they're outside the top 10. It's not knocking Bama. It's just how I feel about them at this point in the spring. But if we were projecting, maybe Bama's higher. We'll give you our prediction here as we get closer into the fall. But all that to say, we're not out on Bama. We're just asking proper questions, I think, before the season starts. And I can't wait to see what they are.
So there you have it. So that was J.D. Piquel's thoughts when he was breaking down he was answering a caller, but talking about Alabama coming in at, I think, 11 on one of those post-spring charts, right? And that's exactly what I was saying was probably the case with a lot of people that were, having Alabama in that range. If you guys remember, I said that a lot of people, knowing that Alabama doesn't have a sure guy coming back at quarterback, like if they had that returning starter at quarterback, I'd argue that they definitely would probably be ranked a little bit higher at this point because, again, people are always going to feel a lot more confident in teams with sure starters at the quarterback position, literally what he just said. And I know that's how people think. But it was his comments about last season where I kind of was like, I got to give some pushback. I mean, he didn't shy away from throwing everything on 4. And that, to me, I'm like, now, obviously, I'm not saying JD knows everything, right? We played one of his videos last week, and it definitely struck a nerve with one of our callers. But to me, I'm like, it sounds kind of contradicting because in one breath you say, it was all on Jalen Milroe, but the next you talk about, Kalen DeBoer being like that quarterback guru. Well, I'd argue, I'm like, well, what does that say about the whole situation? Because at one point I'm like, well, I mean, if he's a quarterback guru, obviously he should be able to get the best play out of these guys. And what does that say about a guy like Ty, who everybody was saying, oh, he should have been playing? But if he's a quarterback guru and he had Jalen Milroe playing over time, and I'm not getting into the whole conversation about he had the team held hostage or whatever that may be. So anyway, that was a clip that I knew Ricky wanted to break down, and I wanted to talk about it too. And we're going to go to Ricky here in a second after this quick timeout. But I got to say, I mean, anytime people put everything on 4 like that, it always takes me back, and I'm just like, come on, guys, especially people that cover the sport. I mean, you guys know there's so much more into it. And to me, I'm like, if we're going to only put it on, like, they just need to ask themselves this question, right? Say you did have a change at quarterback, somebody that you felt was a little bit more capable. You're telling me you believe if you left everything else the same, that you felt this team was going to win a national championship? There's no way in hell you sit there and tell me you watched the tape and saw everything else that, that team had, right, good and bad, from last season, and say, okay, only if, we're one quarterback away from winning it all. No, man, that's not true at all. I mean, I could turn on the tape and point out a number of things that needed to be corrected, and that's why I'm always going to give pushback when I hear those comments like that, because it's just not true. Now, let me just go back and say this to be clear. Jalen was not perfect by any means. He could have played much better last season. Without a doubt, I definitely would say that. But to make it seem like he was not capable, that's entirely incorrect. It's not that he was not capable. Needed to be more consistent? Absolutely, right? Needed to do some things better? Sure. Needed more help from his surrounding cast? Yes, 100,000%, but that's what seems to get left out all the time. And that, to me, I'm just like, it's either lazy or it's just you're not, I guess, I don't know, as knowledgeable about the game as you might think you are. Because, I could point out a number of things on tape, man. And that's just that. So let's go ahead and hit this timeout, Chase. When we come back, we'll let Ricky respond because I want to hear his thoughts on that. Plus, we'll keep on rolling. It is a Talking Tuesday. We're looking forward to talking with you guys. 205-342-9904. Want to get y'all's thoughts on everything that we're talking about. Plus, if you guys got any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you call in. You drop them in that app inbox on the app message. You drop them here in the comment section where we are live on YouTube as well at the Miller's Edge. Quick timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose your hard-earned money. Learn to protect yourself at asc.alabama.gov. Paid for by the Investor Protection Trust and brought to you by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
If you guys got any responses or questions or anything, drop them in that chat and we'll make sure we get to them. When we come back, we're going to go to Ricky, though, here on the phone lines. Then we'll keep on rolling. Let's see. Justin says, my thing is that if Ty Simpson is, let me move this over so I can read it. Sorry, I got this got this new monitor, man. It's really wide. So sometimes I'm like, if it looks like I'm scanning all the way over here, this monitor is like 2 monitors. So that's what I'm doing. My thing is that if Ty Simpson is supposed to be this great, awesome quarterback, then why didn't he beat Jalen out for the starting position last year? I'm hoping / praying he will do good. I don't know. Yeah, no, great question. I mean, and
Guard, help.
You would think that people would understand. I mean, it's kind of, and then it's crazy to say this, but it's almost like I don't know why people don't understand that logic, right? But no, you're right. But I'm not saying that to downplay Ty by any means. I think Ty's going to be great. I think he's going to have a really good season. But I will urge people to remember, because this is what's going to happen, right? The offense is going to look a little bit different. There's going to be probably a lot more success with the ball through the air, right? Ty naturally fits the system better. I mean, it's just a fact. There's no denying it. But I think really what's going to help this offense, I'm not taking anything from Ty, because again, I think he definitely helps out too, being a better fit. But undeniably, the wide receiver room is going to be better, right? People have to remember that. So with that being said, I think Ty will do just fine. I mean, because with the weapons that he has, man, I mean, again, it goes back to Coach Saban's philosophy. Put the ball in playmakers' hands. You don't have to be cute, fancy, none of that, man. Take what the defense gives you, protect the football,
And Hardington's.
and let all those good football players that we have on this team go to work. So we'll discuss that here. That's a great talking point, Justin.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. We just heard that clip over from On 3, J.D. Piquel, talking about what needs to happen for Alabama to make the college football playoff this year round, but he had some comments about last season. And so now we go to the phone lines and let Ricky give his thoughts. 205-342-9904. Ricky, welcome in, man.
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. I saw you tweet something about that, and I was like, man, let me go ahead and I'm gonna load it up for Ricky, because I already know he wants to talk about it.
Man, so hear me out, right? Like earlier, I'd say like either earlier this year or late in December. You remember there was a stretch for like 2 weeks where I was kind of asking you in detail about like how certain things in college football work, positions, coaches, and like for like 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
And you would give me in detail everything like that had to go right for the team to be successful, even not just that position group. So when I listen to like these, it's not just JD either. Like I think a lot of media people like kind of fall like victim to what do you call it, like bait, like rage bait, not rage bait, but like clicks or whatever.
Yeah.
And like again, I get it. It's popular to go all in on the quarterback and to blame everything on the quarterback. But then like you listen to former players like yourself explain in detail everything that has to go right before the ball is even snapped. So how do you give, and by the way, he was high on Jalen Milroe going into last season. And that player that won an SEC championship and an MVP of the game, how do you go from you weren't good at quarterback? Well, you go from that to now you're not good at quarterback. This guy had like two head coach changes. He has had Bill O'Brien. He has had Tommy Rees, Nick Sheridan. He has had 3 OCs. He's had roster changes around him. His wide receiver room has been different every single year that he's been at the school. So to equate all of that to like, well, no, Jalen's the problem. And remember, we talked about how bad the O-line has been not just the last 2 years, but honestly, Bryce Young's his last season up until now, like the offensive line has not been anything to be proud of. And that also doesn't change the fact that we had defensive problems as well. Like we didn't show up for the Vanderbilt game. I thought we blew a win against Tennessee defensively. Oklahoma, and again, we talked about this before too. Oklahoma was non-existent until they played us, at least offensively. So Jalen can't play linebacker. He can't play DB. We had like a bunch of problems before you even get to the quarterback position, in my opinion. So I just thought JD was a little he contradicted a lot of the stuff he was saying. And all it really told me was most of these talking sports heads really don't know what it is they're talking about. They have an idea of how they think the sport should work, but I don't think that it actually works that way. And then I speak to former players or active players, and it's always completely different. Like, no, man, like it's not like that at all. Like, it's playbooks. I know Terrion got on TikTok, and like his big thing was like, yeah, Coach Saban's like whole thing was like, if you didn't know the playbook, you weren't going to play. Like, most of the people who don't see the field don't know the playbook. It's all these things that have to like kind of happen, or that people don't know as the reason why someone isn't playing, or why they aren't starting or anything like. Well, and me personally, I thought Jalen was a better quarterback, or the least most ready quarterback than Ty Simpson was, in my opinion. So that's just my like take on that whole thing, because I thought it was weird. Because first of all, Jalen is gone now. And if we had all these other issues, that had nothing to do with the quarterback before, like what's going to change now? Because we've lost starters on the offensive line. And remember, I talked to you about it as well. You still had questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was my whole beef with him. Like, and I was gonna bring that up quick because I know you asked me about the whole South Carolina thing, but that was my thoughts on JD.
Yeah. Well, here, let me respond real quick before you jump to the your rankings from yesterday. No, I agree with you. And again, I'll say this because I don't want people just to hear me when I defend Milroe in the situation. I'm not just doing it because I like him, and I'm not saying no. You guys always know. I mean, we break things down for what it is, right, from a football perspective, right? And again, I can sit there and I'm not going to bore you guys with the same old breakdown. Like you said, he's gone. He's with Seattle. He's living his dream, man. I'm so happy for him. Good for him. But no, I mean, again, yeah, he needed to process things faster, right? He needed to be more consistent. He needed to work on his, fundamentals, his mechanics, right? I thought his footwork at times was inconsistent, which led to some of the inaccuracy that he dealt with. Held the ball too long. I can go over all the things he needs to work on. I can always talk about all the things that he offers that all these other guys can't offer. My whole thing is, when people just, he wasn't good. Yes, we know he wasn't as good. I mean, I'm looking at his stats last year. He wasn't as good as he was the year before, right? But it could be a number of things. Like you just said, I mean, you talk about new system, new coach, the guys around him. Again, I always go immediately to the weapons, man. The weapon, like whether people want to admit it or not, the weapons make the quarterback half the time who they are. That's just a fact. And when your top receiver, Ryan Williams, a 17-year-old kid, and Jeremy Bernard, he's a good player. But in terms of what these other quarterbacks that have come through here, like what Tua had, what Jalen Hurts had, what Mac Jones had, again, all you got to do is pose these questions to yourself, and they answer themselves, right? If you put Jalen on a roster with that type of wide receiver room, how does his season look? I mean, it literally answers itself. Again, not saying that's the only issue. Again, I just named all the things he need to be better at. But to be clear, there's so many other things. Even like the offensive line, people go, oh, well, but the offensive line was better last year than the year before. Still don't make it perfect. I mean, when you still are being pressured, just because you don't see sacks, and I get the pressure rate might have gone down, but it's still, man, it was not pretty half the time. That's just a fact. And then not to mention the philosophy side of things in terms of really establishing things. And the system wasn't the best fit for him. They tried to tailor it to him the best that they could and do things, but there still was a lot of times they didn't do things exactly the way they probably needed to be done to have that success, like establishing a run game, getting in rhythm, not just having him drop back, throw a bunch of then when you do finally, go to him and let his legs do the, take the carries. I'd argue that half the time you're repeatedly running the same. You got to mix it up. You got to be a little more creative. And again, I mean, who knows? If Ryan Grubb was here, maybe we see a different outcome last year. But it is what it is. I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
I'll say this because I don't put too much stock in anything like most of these guys say. To anybody that's like at least trying to get like an understanding of like I feel like how the sport should work. If anybody is talking about like football and it all starts and ends with one player, knowing that like you need all of these things to like work, I just feel like you can't really take anything that type of person says serious. If it all starts and ends with one player, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the wide receiver, whether it's coaching staff. Like
just do the scenario. I'm telling you, Ricky, it really nips out all that nonsense. Ask somebody if you put Mac Jones on that same exact. If you had everything else the same, but you switched quarterbacks, you put Mac Jones on that team with the weapons, the offensive line, everything else. Does that team win a national championship game? I was about that exactly. That's what I was about to say. I mean, like it's not like you all of a sudden win a national championship. That's what, and that kills that whole argument. Again, two things can be true. Jalen needed to play better, of course. He did not play his best ball. Really, it was more so like the first few games. Like it's interesting though. I mean, you think about Wisconsin, Georgia, those two. I mean, 12-17 against Wisconsin, 70%, 3 touchdowns. Georgia, probably his best game, 27-33, 81.8%, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. I mean, like. He's playing some good ball. Even Vanderbilt wasn't bad, 18-24. He had that 1 interception early. Other than that, he was pretty solid. It was really after that South Carolina game when he had those turnovers. I don't know if his confidence started kind of getting a little wacky or what, but it was South Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri. I mean, they were, he was 16-26 in that game for 215 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 INTs. And it wasn't bad, 50 yards on the ground. With a rushing touchdown. So, I mean, it's solid. But other than that, I mean, then LSU, he bounced back, had a solid game. And then Mercer, we're going to skip that. Oklahoma, we all know how that went. Auburn, 18-24, 0-1. So still not bad than we know how Michigan went. So with that being said, I mean, people make it seem like this guy was like the worst quarterback. No, man. It was just inconsistent. That's why I keep trying to preach. It was inconsistencies. And also, like I just mentioned, I mean, like that whole – if you just switch that position, it still doesn't – maybe you go – we go 9-3 in the regular season. Maybe you go 10-2, which I guess gets you in the playoffs. But I'd argue even if we made the playoffs, we were not just a quarterback away. To me, I mean, that's nonsense. We still had – many other things that needed to be improved upon. Now, in regards to Ty Simpson, I will say this because I know our chat's talking about. We'll dive into it in a second, but he's going to be just fine. But I'm telling you what's going to happen, Ricky, is people want to see the increased productivity through the air, right? Because you got better receivers, you have more time in this system. Ty's a better fit, and they're immediately going to go to he should have been playing. And it's apples to oranges. The comparison's not there.
I've already prepared myself to ignore it. So to me, I like JD kind of lost a little credibility in my eyes. All right, so now let me explain like my whole ranking thing.
Yeah.
Or better yet, maybe I should just explain South Carolina because that seemed to be the most shocking to you guys. So for me, when I made this. And like, let me just say like top 5. So I had Penn State, I had Notre Dame, South Carolina, Clemson, Alabama. So Penn State is still, to me, no turnover on coaching staff alongside Arizona State. I just don't think Arizona State is as talented. I think the same with Notre Dame. Like, so both of these teams are more talented than South Carolina, I feel. But I'm very high on like Lenore Sellers. Yeah. And I think that their edge, which was I want to say their edge was he a freshman last year?
Yeah. Dylan, what's his name? Stewart. Yeah, Dylan Stewart from South Carolina.
Right. Like, I just think that they were young, and now they got a year under their belt under a new under that same system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if this was 2012, like Lenore Sellers, the numbers he put up were like Heisman caliber numbers, and they got a taste of like, all right, we can compete with anybody. They're young and confident. I'm really high on like their defense in general, but like their QB situation, and I know people hate dual threat. Their QB situation is very, like, in my eyes, like a very promising like thing. I kept Alabama at 5 because I think we're fine at the quarterback position. We got Ryan Grubb. My only thing was, like, I don't know what I'm getting out of the offensive line. And that's literally, I think that's literally it. And I don't really know what I'm getting out of the QB room either. But, like, I at least know Ty has sat and learned for 2 years. I think he's solid. I think he'll be all right. And I'm not going to root against him just because to spite everybody else. Like that's still my QB1 if he wins the job. Texas had a lot of drafts. People going to the draft. I still like their coaching situation. So like I kept Texas there. Ole Miss could have easily switched with South Carolina. That was like the biggest like thing in my mind. I'm like, I really like their backup quarterback last year. I forgot his name. But I think they played Kentucky, and Jackson Dart kind of went out for like a solid quarter. And dude, this kid like looked like a stud going against those guys. And so I thought like Ole Miss is still like okay, and I still think they got a lot of weapons. Like they go in the transfer portal a lot, so I think they're good. Like as far as skill positions. Arizona State, of course, because of I think that's because of the coaching staff. In my personal opinion, Ohio State had like a lot of seniors that went to the draft, so I know they're good, but I don't know what they will look like. Florida is very like I got Florida right after them, and like I just think they can be like explosive with their quarterback, and I also like their O-line a little better this year, so I got them there. I think Oklahoma will be better offensively this year. Like I think what we saw last year was like the worst of the worst. I don't know what I'm getting out of Georgia at all. Like I know they're all in on their backup quarterback that came in like when Carson Beck got hurt. But I don't really know. Like I thought they would be something else last year and they weren't. I think Michigan will be pretty solid. Texas A&M, I think they're good as well. Like right behind Michigan. But I don't really know the QB situation because they keep like changing out QBs weirdly enough throughout the season too. So I don't really know there. And then Oregon has like the athletes, but then Dylan Gabriel went to the draft, so I don't really know like what they'll look like. So that's my top 15 and like my reasons I have them like there.
Okay, there it goes. Sorry, my computer is getting kind of slow for a second. I get what you're saying. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you look at Ole Miss. I mean, according to whatever list these are, but I mean the top transfer portal rankings from this spring. They sit at number 3, like right behind LSU and Texas Tech. I think Ole Miss, is expected to have a good team. But putting them at 3 and South Carolina 3, I mean, it feels high to me, Ricky. I'm not gonna lie, but I see where you're going with it. I mean, that's fair though. I respect the list though. Huh?
It's the most controversial. And LSU, I like as an honorable mention, I do have them. If I were to make a top 20, they'd be there. But because like I just don't think they had the athlete last year to really compete. Like, I don't really know what I'm getting. I do like Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's a good quarterback, but, like, I think he needs pieces to be successful, which I don't know if LSU actually has yet.
Well, I mean, they definitely got a number of guys via the transfer portal. So I mean, they're going to have some good guys in that roster. I think they're going to be a good football team, to be honest with you. Ole Miss, same thing. I mean, this league is just so tough, man. It's so deep. Then you add the addition of the transfer portal, man. I mean, these teams are loading up. Luckily, I don't think we really needed to in terms of us here at Alabama. I feel like we had so many guys that they've brought in, via recruiting that they felt strong about in their development that they've, we felt okay. But I think it just goes to show you, man, too. I think that's a nod to the culture that they've established. Really, that again, Coach Saban established, but this new staff has done a good job of kind of retaining and continuing that. Because I mean, as you can see, these other schools are paying a lot of money, and we definitely aren't paying nearly as much as these other schools. But I think we're just fine. But it is intriguing seeing LSU, Ole Miss with what they brought in, how they fare. Like I mentioned, LSU with Nussmeier, a lot of people are high on him, even having him as a first rounder in this upcoming draft. So it makes sense why people are excited about that.
Here's what's interesting, like, about our team. Like, I think, and like, I don't really know for sure, but I think what Kalen is doing is kind of taking the page out of Ryan Day's book. And instead of like going into the portal and buying guys, he's investing in the guys that he's like developing.
Wait, hold on. You don't think Ohio State's went and bought guys?
Well, no, they bought. So here's my thing with Ohio State, right? Like, and I heard Josh Tate's like theory on it, and like I kind of agree. So what they did was they did go out and get guys, yes, but like their big thing was retaining a lot of the guys that they already had, like going into their second, third, or fourth year in school. Right. Instead of like, all right, like all of our guys transfer, let's go hit the portal really hard, pay a lot of money. And I think we saw like teams like Colorado do stuff like that, and I don't feel like that works. We also saw Ole Miss do that, and they missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. But Ohio State was just like, well, let's just keep the guys that we've already like been developing, and it paid off for them in the end. I think if we're smart enough, that's what we're doing. Which I think that's like I got to give credit to Courtney Morgan, like who I think is just. I said he was the X factor, and people got mad at me for it, but whatever. I think that's what we should do, which is why I wasn't surprised, but like I was like, oh wow, we kept all of our players post spring, like nobody hit the portal.
Yeah, that was shocking though. I mean, yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, that was, I say shocking only because I mean, with this, nowadays in college football, I mean, you're just expecting to lose guys. I mean, I knew that we had a solid foundation, solid culture, but to make it to say like, oh, I expected us not to lose anybody. I think that anybody would be lying if they said that. Real quick, back to
a couple of players.
Like, yeah, exactly. Just a couple. I mean, I thought we were so deep at receiver, you probably see maybe at least one of those guys maybe hit the portal. I mean, we literally have probably 5-6 guys that are quality guys. I wouldn't be mad or shocked.
That's where that NIL comes in, like right there, right? Like, and that's what I mean when I say you take a page out of Ryan Day's book. You buy the guys, or not buy. Like, if that's offensive to people, like how we are today, like you keep the guys that you have had for 2 years, just kind of sitting there and learning and gaining experience, and they're more comfortable. So like now we're looking at 2 to 3 to 4 year guys in like each room.
Right.
So like that's what kept me. That's what. And I think our O-line will get better too. I'm just kind of I had to kind of preference that, but like that's what keeps Alabama at number 5 in my book. It's the fact that all right, we retained all our guys. These guys are bought in on Kalen DeBoer now. Like these aren't like a lot of them aren't like Nick Saban's like players anymore. And these guys have bought into like the coaching staff, and now you got Ryan Grubb coming in. So you still don't know,
right?
But you do feel better a little bit.
No, you definitely do, and you should. I mean, just look at defense. The number of guys that are returning and building off what they did. Now, the only thing is I hope it's not a trap because everybody's so quick. We talk about the, statistically where we ranked as a defense, which is great. And building off that is going to be phenomenal, especially with all the guys coming back. But if you go and look at the ins and outs, which Kane Womack, at least in the interviews, he strikes me as somebody, think about it. We'd have a good performance. He always talked about the negative from the game, right? Which is important. You don't want to, get guys big-headed or complacent. But if you do go watch the ins and outs, there's definitely some things that need to be ironed out within the defense. With that being said,
Wait,
I think
are you not like in on like the defense? Like, for me, I at least thought the DB room was like probably the second, third best in the country.
No. I didn't say I'm not all in on it. What I'm saying, Ricky, is though I'm not going to sit there and just say, "Oh, we ranked the best defensively since 2017," and think, okay, like there's nothing we need to really fix, right? I still vividly remember, a lack of adjustments at times that really stood out to me. I think we need to get more pass rush and be a little more productive there. I think we need to clean up the consistencies, and I also think it would really benefit us to not be so one. I'll be honest with you. If you know football, you can tell what we like to run a lot of, and we at times felt a little one-dimensional. Now, obviously, they know what they're doing in terms of forcing turnovers and making. I mean, like they know what they're doing, but I would like to see us take a next step, have a little bit more some more layers to our defense, because what's going to happen is people are going to go turn on that tape, and I'm telling you, if you get complacent, you think you can go out there and just do what you've been doing, running a whole bunch of man cover one, single high. I mean, like there's a lot of beaters to that, right? So I'm just saying.
I got a question for you, Ken. Like that edge rusher that you're looking for, right? Like, is that, you think that's something we got to go out into the portal to get, or can that be developed? Like the thing you're looking for, because I've heard you say this like multiple times, and like I know people keep ignoring it, but like it kind of like stuck with me. It's just like Christian keeps bringing up like this edge rusher issue, and like I didn't think we were bad, but like I'm kind of looking for what you're saying, and then I kind of start thinking about South Carolina. But I think that's a very unique situation, because he was a freshman and he was like this phenom. But like, is that something that we can develop, or is that something that you think we got to go out and like actually search for?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, Ricky, we got to hit this top of the hour break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as a cliffhanger. I'm going to answer that when we come back from this top of the hour break, because I don't want to get chased all twist and turn, because we're going to get behind. But I'm going to answer that. So just keep on listening, because I'm going to give you an answer when we come back. But really good question. I'm going to dive into that for a second.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, thank you, bro. No. And again, I hate to seem like I'm rushing you off. I let Chase go ahead, and we skipped over one break because I was really enjoying the talk. So I'm like, I don't want him to get up behind 3, and then he's really got to play catch up.
Don't stress Chase out, man. I know it's radio. I'm off, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course, bro. Appreciate you. Be easy, Ricky. All right, good deal. We got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we answer Ricky's question about the edge rushers here, and we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. Looking forward to hearing from all you when we come back right here in the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, it's Gary Harris. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. We are loaded. We're going to have the NASCAR report with Matt Coulter, plus Shelton State head baseball coach Bobby Sproul, the Hall of Famer, will join us, as well as Larry the Music Man, and your phone calls. That's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris.
All right, let's catch up on you guys over here. I really hope Ty has a good season. He's been low at Bama and stuck around when he probably could have went somewhere else and probably started. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to be clear, man, if anybody's rooting against any player, right, that's lame, man. Don't be that fan. If they're on the team, support them. Doesn't matter who it is, even if it's not the guy you prefer. I mean, just support the guys. But yeah, no, I expect him to have a good year. I really do. I've heard many compare Ty to AJ McCarron. If that's true, that'd be phenomenal. ChatGPT rates AJ McCarron as the second best quarterback Alabama has ever had. Who they have as number one? I mean, AJ definitely. We talk about most winningest, and most decorated. Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to have AJ as one of those top guys for sure. I mean, what you got? If you go back, I mean, you got Namath, Staley, and obviously Bryce Young, Tua. Wonder who was that one?
Number 1 overall pick, followed by San Antonio at 2.
All right, let's see.
Who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
The peace lily is so last year.
Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air.
Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
The Venue Tuscaloosa Food Hall and Event Space. They've got live music every week that'll have you on your feet and dancing the night away. Feeling hungry? Their food hall has you covered with everything from big breakfast to amazing lunch options, a chili bar and grill, and ice cream to satisfy your sweet cravings. Planning an event, whether it's a birthday, corporate event, wedding, or something totally unique, their versatile spaces could be customized to make your gathering unforgettable. The Venue Tuscaloosa Food Hall and Event Space, located at 6052 Watermelon Road, Northport.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
He turned on a what deal? Wait. Tell me where to look that up, please. I need to see that. I need to put eyes on that. Okay, Bryce Young. Okay. Now I'm with you, Mike.
3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's
agree.
60.
Is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hour number 2 officially underway. Hope everybody is doing well. Just a reminder, if you're just tuning in or if you haven't figured out, but again, we are officially 11-1 now. I know some people still get confused by that. 12-2 is our original time. Now we are 11-1. So just a heads up for the folks that might be tuning in now. Thinking that we're just getting started. 11-1 is a new schedule. So, plus we also stream live on YouTube again throughout the show simultaneously. So if you guys want to get a visual, want to watch me do the show, see us put up the graphics when we're playing these interviews, videos, stuff like that, you can actually watch it. I know a lot of people do prefer the video nowadays. So you can always check us out at The Miller's Edge on YouTube, where we are live. Again, we got folks in here, Mike Southern, we got you, Kenji, Justin, all those folks. I love having our listeners here as well. So you can always do that as well. Real quick, let me remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars as we kick off hour number 2. If you guys are looking for the best humidor in the Southeast, look no further than R&R Cigars. Again, you can't beat it. They've got deals galore. If you check them out, go to their website, rnrcigars.com. You'll see 20% off of any 20 cigars. Build your perfect selection. Mix and match any 20 cigars. I'm sure there's birthdays coming up for folks out there. You've got family members that are big cigar lovers like my dad. You've got Father's Day coming up. Look no further than R&R Cigars. If you're in town, you got to check out the mansion, 2703 Gary Fitz Street, right here in Tuscaloosa. The big old mansion, wraparound porch. They've got TVs throughout. You can't miss it. I'm telling you, if you guys like to go hang out, have a nice smoke, a nice drink, over 160 bourbons as well. But they're always putting on, boxing events, all sporting events. Basketball is going on. You've got baseball, softball, all that stuff. You can go hang out with some good people, enjoy a nice cigar and a nice drink over at R&R Cigars. You can't beat it. Again, that is R&R Cigars, rnrcigars.com. $100 or more for your order. You get free shipping. Again, R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Chase, Ricky, great call, by the way. Loved getting his thoughts on everything. So shout out to Ricky. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to get on the phone lines. We are open. I know sometimes you guys think you got to wait, but we're open right now. So if you guys want to jump straight ahead, you'll be first in line. That being said, before we got off of Ricky, he asked a question about my thoughts with the edge position. I'm always talking about it, saying I want to see more of that. And the reason being is, really going back over the last several years, you really back to, I'm just going to speak on from since I got here at least, but, while we were having all that success, one thing that was constant, obviously there's a number of things where you talk about the defensive touchdowns, right? Scoring on defense, special teams, obviously, the receiver play, having all those guys drafted, obviously the dominance amongst the defensive line. But, going along with that was the pass rush. We've had some really consistent and really productive pass rush, and it's so important. You ask any football coach, some of the most important factors of a football team is, being able to rush the passer. It might not always show up as stats on the stat sheet, but getting pressure, affecting the quarterback is your biggest, one of your biggest goals as a defense. And with me, when I just don't really see that consistent edge pressure, it kind of makes me say, all right, where is that? Where can we find that? Obviously, you can always develop pass rush from other areas, right? Whether you're bringing pressure, whatever the case may be. But there's a reason these pass rushers get drafted so high, right? Abdul Carter, right? You see these guys year in and year out. Teams, they pay a lot of money for pass rushers in the offseason. When you have the ability to have a guy to say, send him off the edge, let him go eat, get after the quarterback, especially in those, critical situations, man, it's huge, right? It forces turnovers. It forces, turnover on downs, right? The quarterback doesn't have time. It's a big deal. I just don't, with this team, I just don't see anybody. You look at the past few years. Whether you go back to, Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, that pair. Think about how disruptive it was when we had that type of presence, not to mention the guys on the interior. Think about the tandem of, Dallas Turner, Will Anderson, right? Even, my years, Terrell Lewis, Anthony Jennings, myself. Jamie Mosley had a whole group of guys, right? Rashawn Evans sliding down. We've always had guys that could get after the quarterback, and it's always been a game changer for our defenses. Last year, Q Robinson kind of looked like that guy until he got hurt, but right now I just don't really see that. But to answer Ricky's question, is it something we can develop? Well, we don't really have a choice, right? Because the portal is closed for this year, at least. So you're going to have to, and it's going to be on those guys to step up. And to be fair, you don't have to have a 10-sack guy to be, a national championship football team, but it definitely helps out tremendously when you've got those guys you can rely on. I think one guy who's got the potential, who's got the skill set, is Cavante Henry, who is coming from JUCO. In terms of just, ball get off, bend, that type of, the guy that looks like your premier edge rusher, it would be a guy like that. He's only been here a short amount of time. He came into the spring. I think he had a little bit of a banged up shoulder or something. So I don't even remember how much of a load he had. So we're going to have to see how he prepares, throughout summer, going into fall camp, all that stuff. I mean, I like Quay Russo. I think he definitely has potential, a little bit more, leaning more towards like an Anthony Jennings style, which it definitely is still very productive, versus more of that, Dallas Turner type, speed rushing edge. Noah Carter, a little bit in that category. We'll see how he can progress, see what he can, look like this upcoming season. Maybe he's a guy that they rely on in that role. But nonetheless, I mean, I think LT Overton is arguably probably the most productive pass rusher that we'll see. It's just going to look a little bit different. It's going to come from, more of that, 4-eye, 3 technique. You do see him play in the 5 at times, but I just would love personally to have that true edge presence. Just don't know if we necessarily have it at this moment. Hopefully they can develop that going in. And getting some more juice to his pass rush. I mean, it could just be a deal of maybe they just need some work this summer just on their moves. I think what it is for me, the reason I just see so much speed to power, to me, there's not much variability in that room. You get what I'm saying? Like, normally, like you have, some speed rushers, some speed to power guys. You have, that way you can switch it up. You got different types of rushers, right? Different. To me, I don't really like Noah Carter and the Henry guy, probably the closest thing to those speed rushers. But that I really feel like, think about it. LT, he's a power guy. Kelby Collins will be a power guy. Jordan Renan, more of a power guy. Now, he does have a good little moveset. I mean, I've seen him work. Trying to think of who I might be missing. Quay Russo, to me, definitely more of a speed to power. Even, Justin Hill, I think is his name, the new guy. I mean, he had some juice in his high school tape, but watching him this spring, he looked like he liked to go power. I don't know if it's more of a coaching thing or that's just the type of players we have right now. But that's my answer on that, Ricky. You have no choice but to develop it, and we'll see what it looks like. Nonetheless, though, you can put these guys in position. Will Anderson was more of a speed to power guy, even though he had the build of a real speed rusher. He loved to go to power, and it worked for him. Hell, he had 17.5 sacks. And so, hey, if one of these speed to power guys can be effective in that way, I don't care. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It just matters about getting the job done. So we'll see. That being said, Chase, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep things rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition. Again, we are open on the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Got some more of a – got another video I want to break down, too, with some bold predictions that Josh Pate had received. And one of them had Alabama involved. And I'm sure you guys are going to have a reaction to that. So we'll listen to that as well. Plus, if you guys got any app messages on that app or in the chat, we definitely can read those and discuss those live on air on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Don't buy your new or pre-owned Mercedes-Benz from anywhere other than Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Their local team provides a 5-star buying experience and 5-star service. Shop local, mercedesoftuscaloosa.com, or go see them at 3200 Skyland Boulevard East, Tuscaloosa.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
There's the, yes, I'd like some popcorn, yes. There's the, yes, my team won, yes. And then there's the yes you never forget. When you open a tiny box that says Fincher and Osmond, it's only second in line behind I do, but it's a yes you'll feel down to your toes.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and Local Roots.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need indeed.
Let's see. So Bryce Young was 1. Tua was 3. Mike says Bama at 11 is fair. We can't be ranked based on previous years. We Bama fans always complain about teams like Notre Dame preseason rankings and no meat on their schedule to drop at all.
Code piping investment.
That would be awesome if he's as good as AJ, because AJ was a badass quarterback. No, AJ was great, man. Tough dude, too.
Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Right now.
Occasionally cloudy this afternoon.
With expectations being, we definitely ascend, as the season goes on.
Tomorrow, partly sunny and much warmer.
But hey, 6-10 gets you in the playoffs, so I mean, who cares, right?
High 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 68 degrees and
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. You can see over on the stream, I got the little mailer that's been going out about the new store down in Legacy Village in South Alabama. As you can see at the bottom, got a cool little picture of me serving as sideline reporter, and I'm quoted saying, "I stay balanced and pain-free, all thanks to my Good Feet arch support." So, guys, you guys know what to do. Check those out if you haven't already. All right, Chase, I haven't gone to you too much today, man. I've been letting you off the hook. We're about to go to this Pate video, but real quick, I wanted to ask you. I see the chat was talking about Ty Simpson, kind of if he could be like an AJ McCarron. I guess I think Southern had asked ChatGPT about or she said, excuse me, she heard many compare Ty to AJ McCarron, and then she said ChatGPT had rated AJ McCarron as the second best quarterback Alabama has ever had. When you look at Ty Simpson, I mean, how do you feel about him, Chase? I mean, do you feel confident in him? Because it sounds like a lot of people, when they're coming up with these rankings, they're saying, hey, man, it kind of falls on his shoulders. If he can be, the guy at quarterback, we feel really good about Alabama. If not, we don't know. What say you, Chase? Do you think Ty Simpson has it in him to be that guy and help propel Alabama back to the college football playoffs?
My thing on Ty Simpson is we have to allow Ty Simpson to be himself. We don't really know per se what he can bring to the table. Like, yeah, he's a phenomenal quarterback. He wouldn't be at UA if that was the case. The standard is very high, no matter who the coach is, no matter who the players is. The Alabama standard is high. But these expectations that, because he's the quarterback, we're going to go to the playoffs is ludicrous. I just feel like we're trying to figure out this new thing of what Kellen DeBoer is. Yeah, we had one season under him, but with Ty Simpson compared to Jalen Murrow, that's two different spectacles. That's like it's like night and day. So I think Ty Simpson will do great. He's seen great quarterback play. He's seen it on the field. He's a study of the game. His dad was, I believe, of football lineage, so he has it in him. But I'm looking for Florida State. That is the key marker, really, of where Alabama under Ty Simpson is going to go. If he does well, then we kind of take it game by game. But to say that because he's under center, and I'm not knocking ChatGPT, but to say that he could be the next AJ McCarron is in a field by himself. He proved it day in, day out, especially under the toughest coach in college football, Nick Saban. You can't argue me with that one. So, but I think it'll be fine, Christian. It's just we got to pump the brakes a little bit, allow Ty Simpson to come in of age, allow him to prove himself, because we haven't seen him play consistently since he's been here at UA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, we haven't just yet. I mean, he hadn't had a true opportunity. You're right. I mean, looking at his stats, we got pulled up here. Last year's 14 to 25. I know he ran for a touchdown. I guess he didn't throw one. Did he not throw a touchdown? I swore that did he not throw a touchdown? Wait, did he not throw it? Oh no, that was Austin Mack that threw that one to who was that in the back of the end zone that everybody was talking about? That was Austin Mack that threw the pass. It wasn't Ty, but he rushed for a touchdown last year. Anyway, we hadn't really seen him get his opportunity. I've been able to see him over the spring, really over the last few years, seeing where he's at now compared to where he was. I mean, he's definitely made a jump. I mean, it's clear. And I think he's really, matured in a lot of the ways that were needed for him to take that next step as being the starting quarterback. So comparing him to AJ McCarron, I don't know if they mean more skill set or what, but I'm with you, man. Anytime you compare somebody to these guys that have the receiver, I mean, you look at AJ McCarron, I mean, his college stats, I mean, 2-time national champion in his back-to-back 2011 and 2012. I mean, the dude passed in his career for over 9,000 yards, 77 touchdowns. I mean, he was like that, man. AJ gets overlooked sometimes when we talk about that quarterback conversation just because in recent years, I mean, you got Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones leading the team to that undefeated year in 2020. So sometimes you kind of forget, but if you really go back and look, man, AJ was that dude, man. AJ was really, really, really good quarterback. So I'll say this. I mean, I don't know if they mean skill set or what, but I mean, obviously, if he does anything close to what AJ could do, I think we'll be in good shape. But I don't like comparing guys too much because I want guys like you said. I think you hit the nail on the head. Let him be himself. I hate it that there's so much pressure on all these guys at this point. I mean, it's part of it. College football is huge. We know it's a business, but I hate it because he is going to have a lot of eyes on him because he's following, Jalen Milroe, who everybody always kept talking about last year. Oh, the quarterback play. So now they're saying, oh, we're expecting you to be the guy, right? So he's got a lot on his plate about being that guy at the quarterback spot. I know people are like, well, he's not the starter just yet. Ty's going to be the guy. It's his job to lose, right? I was saying it before Grubb came out and said it. Grubb just said it not long ago. If they took the field, he would be the guy. I fully expect that. Now, could it be a situation where, we see Keelan get some reps? I'll be transparent. I think the ending depth chart, which they're not going to come out with this until right around the season, right? You know how this goes. Ty, I would say, honestly, I expect Keelan to work his way up to that second spot. Now, during the spring, obviously, he just got in. He's adjusting all that. He, was getting reps, the threes a lot, some twos. They even worked him in with the ones at times. He's just still not there in terms of, his development in his transition. And that's totally understandable, right? I mean, for every great pass he would make, like now, don't get me wrong. Now, he's got the highest upside out of the bunch. But for every, great throw you see out of him, that, wow, that was a good throw. He also would have 2-3 interceptions, almost daily, right? As he's, getting used to things, which is normal. But once he gets adjusted to the speed of the game and, gets his feet underneath the man and then really learns the system, that's another thing you got to take into consideration. I mean, this guy just got here. He's learning the system. He's going to be solid. But in terms of this year, Ty's going to be the guy. Unless things change throughout the course of the year. But I mean, if I was a betting man, which I don't really do that, but actually I don't do it at all. But if I were, I'd put my money on Ty. I mean, he's got the qualities, man. He's been here. He's a great leader. He can make the throws you need him to make. He's been in this system now going on 2 years. He's been in college, the system in whole, right? Just understanding how college football works going on 4 years. And then just from what I've seen out of him this spring, he does a good job commanding the offense, makes some really nice throws, and he'll be solid. And not to mention, one thing that gets overlooked with him is his athleticism. People don't mention it a whole bunch, Chase, but Ty is an athletic guy. I mean, we've seen it in those glimpses where he's come in. Think about it. He has opportunities to make plays with his feet. He does that even a couple of times, just avoiding pressure. Now, is he on Jalen Milroe's level? Absolutely not. And we learned that from this draft. There's not really any quarterback that can do that, let alone even in the league outside of Lamar. But Ty is definitely very athletic, and I think we'll see some glimpses of that. But for the most part, I think this system, kind of like that clip from McElroy, which maybe we'll get to here in a little bit. I think you'll see this system, and even though it's the same system, it's kind of, if I had to guess, revert a little bit back to what it looked like a little bit more at Washington, just because Ty naturally fits it a little bit better than, say, Jalen fit this system. Really, all the quarterbacks that they have in this quarterback room fit this system a little bit better. And so that's what's going to be interesting to see, that in combination with Ryan Grubb and the receiver room. It should be solid. Now, again, I always talk about the offensive line. The other thing is, too, Chase, the running game, I'm curious to see. I know that we've heard Grubb talk about there being a running game. I know that, we want to see that, but will we, and in what capacity? That's what's kind of intriguing to me, because I think that's important too. That's another key. I always talk about the offensive line. I guess it goes along with it. But getting our running game back going, Chase, I think that's something that really would take us a long way. Especially, you talk about the fact that, yes, Ty has played and, very limited, but, it's not, he's new. But anytime you have a new guy, getting the reins at quarterback, man, you want to take off as much pressure as possible. And having that running game would do just that. And I really am curious to see how that looks. Now, Jam, Daniel Hill, whoever, Richard Young, I got faith in those guys. But again, until we actually see it, you know what I mean? We just got to be cautiously optimistic. But I think that's another big thing. But anyway, that was that little segue into the quarterbacks, because we were talking about that here over in our YouTube chat. We got to hit a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to listen to that video. Josh Pate responded to some of the biggest and boldest predictions. One featuring Alabama on there. That definitely was a bold prediction. I want to hear that and respond to it. So we want to do that on the other side. If you guys want to get on the conversation, it's not too late. We still got some time. 205-342 is the number to the show. You guys can get in on the convo. But when we come back, we will break down that clip and respond to it. All right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Hi, it's Chris Stewart inviting you to come pick out your Townsend certified vehicle at Townsend Honda. Every Townsend certified vehicle goes through a 125-point inspection and is backed with 12-month, 12,000-mile exclusionary coverage. It's the pre-owned vehicle you want with the coverage you can count on, and it's at a price that'll make you happy. Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, serving West Alabama over 50 years.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and the MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99. In-store only, limit supplies. See store for details. Choose Syntec exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies and the dreamers. Trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers.
Who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Childhood cancer is devastating, but childhood cancer is beatable with St. Jude. I knew that St. Jude was a children's hospital, that no one ever received a bill from St. Jude, but I in no way understood how completely they take care of their patients and their families. To any of the donors, I would say bless you and thank you, because without the donors, St. Jude wouldn't be here.
Finding cures, saving children.
Learn more at stjude.org.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard.
What's up, Brock? Oh, no worries, man. No worries. Glad you're here. All good. What did you miss? Let me think. Drawing a blank. Sorry, I was reading the news about the time for the Florida State game. We talked with Ricky about his rankings yesterday. We listened to that clip with J.D. Piquel talking about what needs to happen to make the playoffs for Alabama. We've been talking a little bit about the quarterbacks. And
Brian Hardy.
Yeah, we've been rolling. $3:30 Eastern time kickoff for Florida State. Oh, nice. Good news.
Proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience. No one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, and YouTube live streaming as well. Real quick, before we jump into the bold predictions video, a couple little news notes. Official start time, kickoff time for Alabama, Florida State, 3:30 Eastern time, 2:30 Central time. We've got plenty of time to break that down, but we will in the next few weeks or so, as you know, we're in the offseason, start looking at some of these teams on the schedule. It's kicking off with Florida State and break them down. But if you guys are wondering about times, there you go. 2:30 Central time is the official kickoff time. Now, I will say this. It's already made. This season, is going to be here before you know it. The players will be back in town for summer workouts and all that stuff, summer classes, and I'm looking at the calendar. Less than 2 weeks, really, about 2 weeks or so. So it's already, their break's already halfway done, and they'll be right back here in Tuscaloosa getting ready to go. And plus, as we roll into summer, we'll have SEC Media Days, all type of things. So we're going to keep on rolling through the summer. And next thing you know, fall camp will be here, and we're really going to be in football mode. So definitely excited about that. Also, shout out to Brock, who's in the chat, who just left this message here in the chat. He said, Ty Simpson also just got invited this morning to the Passing Academy in June, and that he's excited. So shout out to Ty for being invited. Jalen Milroe attended last year, so Ty will continue that. And if you guys aren't familiar, Manning Passing Academy is where they invite top college quarterbacks to the Passing Academy that takes place in June, and they get to mentor a lot of young high school quarterbacks, stuff like that. But then obviously all the people, college football fans want to get their eyes on all of these quarterbacks, right, and kind of get an early glimpse at what to expect. So obviously there's going to be a lot of attention on a guy like Ty Simpson because he's expected to be the starting quarterback here at Alabama. And that'll be an opportunity for some people to get some eyes on him. Because remember, we didn't broadcast the spring game, so there's only very limited stuff out there for how these guys are looking right now. Brock, I see your question. That's a really good question. Let's hit this video real quick. It's just a few. I don't think it's too long, and then I'll bring that question back, Brock, and we'll definitely answer that. It's a good one because I don't want to forget about this video. So without further ado, Chase, let's jump over to our buddy Pate of Josh Pate's College Football Show. Let's hear his bold college football takes that he had, or at least that people were asking him, because one of the first ones actually featured Alabama, and it definitely was a very bold take. So let's go and see what that was all about.
Bold prediction season continues. What do you believe? What do you really believe? Let's take a look at this. We got a little SEC flavor here. Our friends in Baton Rouge, just the utter hatred and disdain for Alabama while being loyal to the conference on display. One of them said the SEC will have 5 teams in the playoff. None of those teams will be Alabama. I'm going to make this a 9 on the boldness scale, probably should go higher, actually, because if they've got 5 in, Bama's got to be one of them. But they say no. So at FanDuel right now, the SEC has 10 of the top 21 teams in the odds board. So you would think, oh, that's not crazy at all. Yeah, but not all of them are going to be that level. They got to play each other. They got to knock each other out. So what you need here is you need separation. Like you need Texas and Georgia and Bama and Ole Miss and LSU to be really good, and they win all their close games, and then there's big separation. So they're all 9 wins or 10, 11, 12 wins. That's probably got to happen. And are the other conferences down? That's also got to happen. That's a 9. And I think if the SEC gets 5 in, that's a huge story. But if Bama's one of them, you still lost. So that may be harsher than a 9, maybe like a 9.25. I mean, there's like dust in here. It landed on my nose. Oh, we're good, Colin. No sneeze coming. Next up, this is a good one. Take note at home. If you're doing bold predictions, Thomas up in Hutchinson, Kansas, this is a solid bold prediction. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's solidly constructed here. He said Nebraska, Kansas State, and Georgia Tech will combine for at least 28 wins this year. All right, I made this a 9.5 on the boldness scale, but I respect it. So we need 28 wins total. Nebraska win total 7.5. Kansas State is 8.5. Georgia Tech is 7.5. So you add those 3 numbers up, it's 23.5. So we need all of them to overachieve. Here's my struggle. If all of them overachieve, and for the record, I am higher on all 3 of those than the market right now. But if all 3 of them overachieve and all of them go 9-3, this doesn't hit. And that's tough. So I mean, someone's got to pop a double-digit win season on us here, and the other 2 still need to win at least 9 games. I think this is a 9.5. However, all 3 of them return a quarterback. All 3 of them are top half of the country in returning production. All 3 of them have bottom half strength of schedules in their conference. It's a 9.5. It is not impossible. It's just improbable. Next up, we're going to go 9+ here again. Eric from Warner Robins, Georgia, said last year's playoff chaos continues to disfavor the rested teams. Conference winners lose in the quarterfinals. So this happened last year. Remember, Oregon won the Big Ten. They got put out by Ohio State. Boise won the Mountain West. They got put out by Penn State. Arizona State won the Big 12, dumped by Texas. Actually, they didn't get dumped at all. It went to overtime. Still a great game, but they got beat. And Georgia won the SEC. Notre Dame exposed of them. You're saying that's going to happen again this year. I say that's pretty bold. I say that's a 9.25. And here's what's kind of crazy. So as of now, we've still got this backwards rule where only conference champs can be the top 4 seeds in the current playoff. So they're about to reconstruct the playoff. Now, we assume that rule is going to be dumped in the future iteration of the playoffs. But whatever format they decide on, it will be decided before this playoff happens. The reason I point that out is if what you just predicted is true, it would be the hottest debate topic in sports because we would have 2 straight years of glaring examples that prove rest is detrimental to football teams in December. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. All the teams that get the buys keep losing. We're 8 for 8. What's happening here? Well, whatever the future playoff's going to be, it will be by that point. So you better get it right. And lastly, in the bold prediction department for tonight, Alex from Newberry, Florida. USC reaches 10 wins. Hello. And they make the playoff behind Lincoln Riley's best defense as a head coach. Now, you may be thinking to yourself a few things, but one of them is, well, what has Lincoln Riley's best defense been? Did you know in 2020, Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, they had the 28th best defense in the country? So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a 10-win USC team or better. They got to be like top 25 defensively, basically. It could happen.
That's a 8.75 for me. That's not the craziest thing in the world. I do think they'll be. It wouldn't surprise me if they were top 30-ish defensively this year. So they'll be flirting with that. If that happens, that's heavily correlated with their result. So if they're improved again that much defensively, maybe they win those close games this year, and they do get 10 wins. Could happen. Their win total 7.5 right now, so you got to go significantly above that. I didn't think it was crazy. Some people in the office thought it was a lot bolder. I don't know.
And there you have it. So those were those bold takes he was talking about. But I want to jump back to the first one that was brought up, that the SEC will have 5 teams in the college football playoff, but none of those teams will be Alabama. That definitely is very bold. I mean, 5 teams. I mean, come on now. Let's go back to this. These are the odds to win the SEC championship according to FanDuel. You've got Texas at number 1 with plus 270, Georgia number 2 plus 400. Number 3 is actually Alabama plus 500, Ole Miss plus 950, LSU plus 950. So Ricky's does not his team, but Carolina, who Ricky had pretty high, they're plus 1,700 to win the SEC championship. Now, again, we all know how this thing is. This is all subjective. But Chase, let me ask you. I mean, what other teams would really make it if 5 teams got in, which is a lot, right, for the SEC? Matter of fact, while we're looking at this, I'll also pull up last year's college football playoff and break down all the teams from the SEC that got in. But Texas, Georgia, then Alabama here for the odds. I'm just trying to think, even if you put Ole Miss and LSU ahead of Alabama, if 5 teams got in, I mean, that would still have Alabama at 5. I mean, you think that's way too bold, Chase, or do you think there's actually some substance there that there is a chance, even if 5 teams got in, Alabama didn't make it in? I mean, what did you think about that take?
I think that's way too bold. You look at last year's teams in terms of the SEC, Alabama didn't make it in. Tennessee with how they played, Georgia, Texas. These aren't the same rosters of last year. People are changing mightily just from basis to basis. And Josh knows something I don't, because he's very accurate on a lot of his takes, but 5 SEC teams, that is a huge number. It's kind of like with basketball, how there were so many teams in the tournament. I just don't see that happening. Now, do I see Alabama in the mix? Yes, most definitely. Alabama has the roster that could compete to get to a playoff and probably even more. But to say 5 compared to Ohio State, other teams that made it last year that were at least better than Alabama. You say that with a lot of SEC teams too. So I don't know, Christian. Is it a lot of? Is 5 teams a lot, or is just I can see that kind of with the turnover of the SEC is the big bad again.
Good question. It's very interesting to think about, because last year you had 3 SEC teams get in. You had Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee, right? If you look at it right now, and Josh, again, this is going to change because all these teams beat each other up, right? But right now he's got 6 SEC teams in his top 25 rankings, and the top 12 get in, even though there's a little bit of an addendum there, right, with the conference championship stuff. But or the group of 5, whatever it's called, where they I forgot the whole explanation, but you get what I'm saying. But even then, he's got 6 SEC teams in the top 11. He's got Texas at 2, Bama 4, LSU 5, Florida, Oklahoma, and UGA. With Texas A&M trailing and Ole Miss trailing not far behind. That being said, I mean, 5 teams from the SEC getting in would be a lot, but is it possible? Yeah, I mean, I think so. The problem is everybody kind of beating each other up and potentially knocking each other. I mean, that's kind of what happened last year if you think about it. I mean, look at South Carolina, Ole Miss. Unfortunately, just there wasn't enough room for all these teams. Now, there's been talk about the expansion. We mentioned it briefly last week, and we're going to bring it up tomorrow because Pate, who we just listened to, also did another video on that, breaking it down even further. But answer your question, 5 would be a lot, but I think it is potentially possible. We'll have to see, obviously, how the season goes. But if there is indeed 5 teams from the SEC that get in the playoffs, I don't know I don't think there's a way in hell that Alabama misses that group. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I think Texas will be good. I think LSU has a chance to be good. Georgia, I know I'm kind of I'm in the air with them right now, but I still think, they're going to be contending without a doubt, right? I mean, it's Georgia, they're coached well. They're going to have some guys. We'll see. I just think it could be another year similar to last year where you see some inconsistencies, some, games where they're narrowly escaping. I think that's definitely a thing. I don't think that the dominant Georgia teams that we once saw, I don't think that's necessarily a thing right now, at least. But I still think they're contending. And then, whether, Ole Miss, even like you said, like South Carolina, I mean, I think they're going to be up there. But Alabama, I think some people are sleeping a little bit too much on Alabama, which is fine. I almost would rather that, right? Because I think this team is going to play a lot better than people are anticipating. I think a lot of it really is that they're going off of last year, which is fair. I mean, there's a lot of returners. They're saying, hey, we there's not a sure starter coming back at quarterback. We want to see how that looks. I really think that's the biggest nick on Alabama right now, which isn't even a nick. It's just the reason people are a little more cautious. So let's hit this last timeout as we come back. We've got a number of chat messages here from YouTube that we'll discuss as we close things out on this Talking Tuesday. But you do have a few minutes. If you do want to call in, feel free. We'll let you hop on here as we get ready to get things rolling as we pass things along to Wise, who's coming up next. But quick timeout when we come back. We finish things up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right, let's see. We'll discuss everything that y'all been talking about here to close things out. So I'll hit Brock, your question about Ty. What's up, G Bama? Good to have you in here. Mike, good point about the running game. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you understand that, man. I mean, without a running game, without consistent offensive line play, it's about that time, guys. Been talking for almost 2 hours, getting tired. Can't even speak. It's going to be tough for any quarterback, and that's just why. That's why I'm always preaching that. I promise. I know it might come off like being a Milroe apologist, where I'm just basically defending any little. No, it's not that at all. I promise. You guys heard me earlier. I'll break down any player, good and bad. I always throw out strengths and weaknesses. I mean, that's what you do when you analyze the game. But I mean, it's just a fact that without certain things, man, I don't care who the quarterback is, they're going to struggle. And it's crazy that people just turn a blind eye to that, man. I mean, there's a reason when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall who looks like he's a phenom, why do you think he still gets drafted to a bad team and they don't magically just become better the next year? Like, again, there's so many clear answers for this that I don't know why people don't just look to it and understand this to really understand quarterback's not the only guy out there that matters, right? There's a reason that all the guys that get drafted, and I just heard this stat, it was like there's only been 2 number 1 overall picks quarterbacks that went on to win Super Bowl. Why is that? Is it because they're struggling with their draft breakdowns or their grades? Man, I'm sure some of them, sure, absolutely. But I'd also argue because the guys are going to bad teams where they don't have the support. I mean, it's literally that simple, man. Coker, McElroy, McCarron all had running games. Absolutely, man. That's why I said earlier, you don't necessarily need superhero, especially now. It was a little bit different back then because we did our defense were so good. Hell, we didn't have to put up crazy numbers, but that really was more of a testament to really college football, right? Because the game has evolved, it's changed. See a lot more air raid. Shout out to late great Mike Leach. The average points being scored has shot up. You've even heard Coach Saban. He's even had to almost adjust his philosophy. And look, me and people like him that think like defense wins championships. That is entirely true. But to be fair, you have to have some firepower on offense, man. It's. I'm not saying it's gone completely the other way around, but I mean it's worked that way where I mean you can have a really good defense, but if you can't put up points, man, you're going to be in trouble. And a big key component to that is like Mike, you're mentioning, having a good running game, being balanced, having a good offensive line. I'm telling you guys, I mean, if people would just really think about other scenarios and understand, I mean, like, oh, Chris, you talk about the offensive line. Well, okay, go back and look at the last few Super Bowl winners, man. What do they all have in common? You know what I mean? I get the Chiefs can be a little inconsistent, right? But I mean, look at Philly, their success, man. I'd argue that, and I love Jalen. I think he's obviously took his game to a whole nother level. Obviously, A.J. Brown, Smitty, those guys are dogs. But I'd argue if they didn't have that dominant offensive line and then adding a guy like Saquon Barkley to really elevate their running game, I don't think you'd see them having that same level of success. Just being honest.
On Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been talking with our folks over in the chat. So let's go ahead and bring it over to the airwaves, as we would say, over on the radio side of things. So let's go over some of the things that we have here in the chat. First, Brock was asking about my thoughts on Ty, which I mentioned it a little bit before he got here, but just to recap, I think Ty is a solid quarterback. I think he's grown a lot since he's been here. I mean, I've seen every quarterback battle that he's been in. I've seen him this spring, right? I go up there, I see the scrimmages, and I'll say that I think he looks a lot better right now. I think he looks a lot more comfortable. His decision-making is better. I think that was always one of the things with him was more so, every quarterback's going to have their fair share of bad decisions, but really just being able to respond the right way. And as a young player sometimes, especially at the quarterback spot, it's a little tough to kind of go to the next play. I think that was one of his deals where, if he kind of got himself in a pickle, it was a little bit tough for him to get himself out of it, at least mentally. I think now he understands a lot better, right? Take what the defense gives you. You make a mistake, no worries, next play mentality. And he just looks a lot more in command, right? I've seen him make some great throws downfield, short intermediate game. He's got some solid consistency. Is he perfect? No. I mean, there's been some, a fair share of times I've seen him that he doesn't look, extremely consistent or accurate at times. That's any quarterback. But the difference is I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, okay, he can't make short or intermediate throws because I've seen him miss a couple in practice. No, I think that's normal. I think the more reps he gets, because think about it, he's only been limited to this point in his career. He's only going to get better. But from what I've seen from him up to this point, especially, focusing on the spring, I think he's more than ready to take the reins of this offense. I think he's going to do a really good job this season. Is he going to be perfect? No. Is he going to have turnovers? Sure, just like anybody else. But the biggest thing is, can he let his players make plays, and can that offensive line block for him? Can we relieve some pressure from him? Can we call a good game plan to put him in position to feel comfortable and just be himself? I think that's going to be important. And I think we'll just go from there. But in terms of, do we at least have somebody capable? Yeah, I think Ty is capable of doing everything that you need him to do. He doesn't need to do anything else other than distribute the football, protect the football, manage the offense, operate the system, and just be who he is. I mean, there's a reason he was rated pretty high coming out of high school. Man, he's got talent. We all know that, man. He's got arm talent, smart guy, comes from a coach, right? His dad's a coach. So I'm expecting big things from him, but I'm not going to put too much pressure on him, anything like that. No, I expect him to have his ups and downs, but in terms of do I feel confident in what he offers, I do. I definitely do. G. Bama says, if the offensive line is the same as 24, Ty will struggle. I agree with that. I don't care who you put behind there. If you don't have a consistent offensive line, protecting you, I don't care if you put Pat Mahomes back there, Lamar Jackson, it's not going to be as good as it can be, right? You got some guys that can help cover that up, which I thought at times Jalen definitely covered up some of that stuff. Bryce Young, even going back a few years, right? People don't really talk about this, but the offensive line play, even really back in 22, wasn't great. Bryce Young covered it up a good bit because he was a magician back there. But the reality was we didn't have great offensive line play. And so I don't care who's back there. If the offensive line play is not great, whoever it is, is going to struggle. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Let's hit a few more of these app messages. Of course, you guys really pick up the pace of all these messages as we're closing things out, man. It's funny. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Milroe was taking some of the running back snaps. I didn't like it. Well, I'll say this. I mean, when he's one of your best runners of the football as a coach, man, you want to call things that you think you'll have success with. And I'd argue, I mean, with his skill set, I mean, that actually was the right call. Now, obviously, Jam, Justice Haynes, those guys are really talented, but there's times we're talking about it now. Our running game wasn't the best, even for two reasons. Number one, the lack of it, but number two, even when we were getting to it, we didn't always execute great. And I thought that one of the things we did execute pretty well was those quarterback design runs, quarterback draw, quarterback power, counter, all those things. Now, obviously, you can't spam it too much because people start figuring it out and they start preparing for it. But, I think that was part of the offense last year, given the skill set. So does it take some carries away from those guys? It does, but rightfully so when you have a guy like that as in Jalen Milroe. And last but not least, we will make the college football playoffs if we can run the ball effectively and provide decent protection for Ty. I agree. I mean, those are my keys, really, man. I definitely think if you can do those two things this season better than we've been doing them, I think we should have success. The receivers are going to be great, in my opinion. Get them the football, limit the turnovers and let the defense build off what they did last year and see what happens. But I guarantee if you do those things, we should see ourselves in the 2025 college football playoffs. That being said, we got to get out of here. We got to make room. Wyatt is coming up next. This has been a Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC and YouTube live streaming at the Miller's Edge. Make sure you guys drop us a subscription, I guess you should say. That being said, we are presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Make sure you guys go check them out. And make sure you guys come check us out again tomorrow right here, same time, 11 to 1 Central Time, right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.